She dumped him because his grades were too low for her elite university, literally claiming their futures were on completely different levels. She actually thought he was collapsing from the shock of it all, but in reality, he was just trying to hide a massive smile. Today's explainer is the complete, unfiltered chronicle of a man who turned personal betrayal into absolute global domination.
So, picture this. It's a dark, raining day. The school beauty Chuchu Ching Lee is walking away with this cold, disgusted sneer. She's dumping her boyfriend, Fang Yi, figuring his life is officially over. But remember that massive smile he's hiding? Why is he smiling? Because Fang Yi isn't just some ordinary student. He's actually returning from a future disaster with absolute zero-day knowledge of an apocalypse that's about to hit the Earth.
And the contrast here is just wild. While the rest of humanity is totally panicking over giant mutant creatures, massive sky vines, and literally collapsing cities, thinking it's all just some terrible nuclear waste leak, only Fang Yi knows the terrifying truth. The spiritual energy revival has begun. Within days, his ex-girlfriend is literally begging guards to let her pass a university gate just to avoid getting scorched by abnormal UV rays. But Fang Yi? He is standing directly inside a vortex of molten lava, permanently burning a scarlet flame attribute into his soul-bound Tang Sword. It's a staggering reality shift.
So let's start with Act 1, the betrayal and the awakening. Fang Yi has this internal countdown system ticking down exactly 364 days until the world completely changes. He plans to exploit every single anomaly before anyone else even knows what's going on. This cataclysm is called the spiritual energy revival. And we're not talking about a natural disaster here, we're talking about a global reset. All of society's old rules, money, degrees, status, they turn to literal ashes overnight. Mutated beasts emerge and cultivation power becomes the absolute new standard for human survival. If you want to live, you have to cultivate. Right out of the gate, literally at the contaminated north gate of Chingcheng University, he makes his move. Other students are running for their lives from these scorching, abnormal UV rays. But Fang Yi? He walks right up and touches the glowing ash. Boom. He absorbs pure yang energy. His system immediately unlocks the top-tier golden sun breathing technique and hands him script points. Now, these points are an absolute game changer. They let him permanently encode items with elemental attributes. So he takes a standard Tang Sword, drops some points, and instantly turns it into a lethal weapon ready to carve up these early anomalies. Moving right into Act 2, the first incursions. This is where Fang Yi goes from a nobody to a total tactical powerhouse. He's not just surviving, he's actively hunting. During a pioneer mission to a newly formed lava river, he completely blows the minds of a seasoned explorer team and the Cultivation Association agent, Xiaoya. He just casually strolls right into a vortex of boiling magma. He uses his script points to permanently burn that scarlet flame attribute into his soulbound Tang Sword. He is systematically turning the apocalypse into his own personal weapons forge. And trust me, he needs that firepower. The world is quickly being overrun by contamination zones. Think of these as highly dangerous, spiritually polluted areas that spawn these incredibly intelligent, bloodthirsty mutated creatures. And the really terrifying part? These monsters actively feed on human energy to evolve and get stronger. Let's put this into perspective with the threat hierarchy. The official association squads are completely outmatched. I mean, Fang Yi walks straight into a coordinated S-level trap inside an abandoned chemical plant. It's a brilliant setup. You've got an A-level mutated rat, the Candle Knight, using shadow and corrosive attacks to bait elite squads. Then, waiting in the dark with a paralyzing poison mist, is an S-level giant serpent. That is a combo that would instantly wipe out any normal elite team. Which brings us to Act 3. The Thunder Tyrant emerges. So Fang Yi realizes his fire attribute alone isn't going to cut it against these dark attributes. He needs more. So what does he do? During a massive storm on Mount Yuhuang, he takes a deadly gamble and literally plunges his sword into a raw, massive bolt of blue lightning. He claims the divine thunder for himself. And here is where it gets crazy. Fusing fire and lightning gives him a 200% double critical hit. When he faces that S-level giant serpent trap, the thunder instantly purifies the serpent's poison, and he single-handedly obliterates both monsters. He leaves Elite Association agent Su Xingying sitting in the rubble, completely mind-blown that one guy is wielding two conflicting top-tier elements. Next up, Act 4, Cultivating the Spirit Flower. You see, Fang Yi doesn't just kill monsters, he completely consumes their power. Instead of just fighting his way through a massive mutated wolf king and an S-level dark fox, he deploys a sentient spirit flower he picked up earlier. This little plant acts like a terrifying supernatural vacuum.
It absorbs the life force of the entire mutated wolf pack. By swallowing all those enemies, the flower forces its own evolution, becoming a deadly A-level anomaly called the Desolate Fire Spirit Flower. Fang Yi is now literally commanding the Anomalies to do his dirty work. And you have to love the poetic justice here. Later on, Fang Yi gets called in to clear a massive sky fire anomaly at Ching University. Guess who is in the crowd? His ex-girlfriend, Chuchu Ching Lee. She has to stand there and watch as the principal of her fancy elite university physically bows in deep respect to the guy she literally called a loser. Fang Yi just clears the threat and walks away, totally ignoring her. She's just left standing there alone in the crowd.
Finally, we hit Act 5, the Rising Sun Ascension.
This is where Fang Yi shatters every known limit of human potential. He is tearing through cultivation realms at a terrifying speed. Normal pioneers take years to advance even a little bit, but Fang Yi? He rockets from the Ghost Axe realm right through to the Spirit Creation realm, seals a massive dark tide, and by month 6, he hits the Xin Yu realm. We are talking literal godlike power here. But the universe doesn't just hand over that kind of power. To secure it, he has to survive a heavenly tribulation. And this isn't just some bad weather. It is a brutal storm of dark energy, madness, and mind control, designed to completely break his sanity. But Fang Yi, he whips out the ancient god demon armor. He actually uses the dark chaos of the storm to fuel his own golden sun breathing technique, completely bending the tribulation to his will. At the absolute peak of this journey, he connects with the mythical three-legged golden crow and merges with the sun god throne. He absorbs its supreme solar essence and unlocks a god-tier technique, the East Heaven Divine Crown Secret. This fundamentally rewrites his DNA into a divine, natural-born Yang constitution. He isn't human anymore. He's a literal force of nature. 2. That's the number of suns currently in the sky. Let that sink in. As Fang Yi ascends to become a half-step rising sun monarch, his power is so unbelievably dense that it literally ignites a second sun in the sky above his training villa. The sheer magnitude of this sends energy alarms and massive shockwaves across the entire planet. Naturally, the globe goes into a full-blown panic. Country A's leadership watches the Zion Nation's sudden dominance and immediately demands heavy international sanctions. They are completely terrified that a single pioneer, Fang Yi, now holds the power of multiple elemental thrones. Now, as an explainer, we're just neutrally reporting on the source material here, but it perfectly illustrates how one person's explosive growth completely disrupts the entire geopolitical balance of the world. So, it all comes down to this. From an ignored, dumped student standing in the rain, to a half-step rising sun monarch commanding elemental thrones and igniting literal suns in the sky, with the whole world watching in absolute awe and terror. Who, or what, in the universe could possibly stop him now? It's an absolutely epic chronicle of turning betrayal into global domination. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.